Open the session for discussion, but I'll trigger the first question to the panel. Given the enormous demand that the Indian IT industry is seeing for talent, what have been your experiences and what should companies, emerging companies, do to attract and retain talent? And maybe I can ask Pat, for his experiences, and ask my co-panelists to comment on that.
Well, of course, as in our publishing activity, we've only been in India as a 100% subsidiary for about 3 years, and our venture side is fairly new. But observing our own experience and that of others, I think the key thing is to tie people into the enterprise growth of the company by letting them share in the equity of the company. And then, showing them what a 5 and 7 year business plan achievement would mean for the appreciation of their slice of the corporate value of the company. What's obviously going on now is that people have decided to expand their current size of staff in India, or have decided to start a new company and very quickly scale up. And so they just come in and say, all right, whatever you're earning, we'll give you 20%, 25% more, come immediately. And so people are buying employees, with a very big appreciation and income. But the risk is that you're getting the people who say, I just work for the highest bidder. And so the next person who comes by and offers me another 25%, I'm off. I'm out of here. And you're trying to train these people and keep them loyal. So I think the best way is to show them that they can make a very high economic benefit by staying with you long term through a tie-in to enterprise value.
Deep, Joel, any comments?
I'd just like to add one thing. I totally agree with ESOP and an entrepreneurial style of functioning, which I think Pat really well demonstrated. I think that's the way to go. But, one of the areas we found a huge challenge was just one of the verticals, and I was talking to Arjun some time back about this, is to get very good technologists to come and work for Make My Trip, like at a very senior level and good people. And the whole point was that we were competing against companies where I guess they thought they could do many more things besides one vertical. And that was a challenge. I think we've overcome it now. And we finally overcame it by, I think, offering, a lot of good stuff. We didn't want to just buy people, but we wanted to give them the opportunity to do some of the cutting-edge research stuff, cutting-edge development stuff in-house, to be able to build a team in-house. And I think that was probably the toughest one. So you'll find verticals. In your own vertical, at least in my case, it's quite easy to get people because you probably are a employer of choice or one of the most exciting places to be because it's growing so fast. But when you want to get people from different verticals or really functional areas, so top-notch finance guys, not very easy for younger companies. So there are challenges. You have to be liberal with ESOPs out there. I'd rather be liberal with ESOPs with senior people than be very liberal with salaries, exactly for the reason that Pat said. Someone's going to outbid and you're going to lose that guy. So,
I would actually, I agree with all the comments. I would take a slightly different approach and say that attrition in India is endemic. It's going to get worse, much worse, in the next few years. There's no way we're going to be able to maintain the attrition level where it is today. And the only way we're going to be able to operate is to be able to make money off employees and if they churning after 1 year. So build into our business model 360-day average tenure and make money off it. And that we can do by aggressive training, very focused training, and very strong systems and automation. So I think all of these things that the other panelists have said are sort of a way to patch the tidal wave, but it's still going to come, and we need to rethink fundamentally how we do this.
Thanks, Joel. Now we open the panel, the discussions to the House. If there are any questions you may address to the entire panel or to a specific panelist. There's a mic here, please. Kindly introduce yourself and ask the question.
Gagan Aluwalia with Global Staff. Joel, what implications do you see to the fundamental business model if you have to build in a planned attrition of or a tenure of 1 year in terms of things that can or cannot be done in the high-end areas of services that have been mentioned by the panelists here?
I think it's a good point what you're saying. I think the whole challenge, at least for our type of businesses, service businesses, is templatizing as much as we can. So you take a high-end, what a banker thinks is high-end or what a lawyer thinks is high-end, you break it down, you templatize it, you productize it, and then you heavily train people. And it becomes extremely simple. What used to be very complex becomes very simple if you take that approach. And that's how we've been able to, today we do merger modeling, we do trading comps, transaction comps, complex things. Our training program is 30 days. After 30 days, guys are 70-80% productive to be able to do specific products. But they're templatized and they're broken into pieces.
Any other questions from the House?
Yeah, my name is Anu Pandey. I am Managing Director of Net Customer. My question is for Deep. Deep, are you happy with the progress or the status of e-commerce in India per se? And what do you think will accelerate it, or what will act as a catalyst for e-commerce in India?
Okay, thanks. I guess I've had the benefit of being in this industry for a while. So when I launched Make My Trip in the site in 2000, we also had an India offering. And one of the best things we did in hindsight was we stopped advertising in India very quickly because there were lots of lookers, very few bookers. And I can clearly tell you the market wasn't ready at that point of time to buy online. And we focused on the inbound market, the NRI market and stuff like that. What changed really from then to 2004, I think 2004 is when things really started happening, and we finally launched our India offering in 2005, credit goes to irctc.com, Indian Railways, for making available a product which was otherwise very difficult and painful to buy online. In a very average, frankly, user interface, but it worked. And since the alternative was so painful, it did really well. It also got a premium. So people paid a premium to buy online. People pay, even today, 40 to 60 rupees extra, depending on what rail ticket you're buying, to buy online versus sending someone virtually for free to the railway station. And it's not really your pain, but you have to send someone because they want to be in control. They want to see all the choices they want to get done. So I think that stimulated a lot of demand. Also, people started trusting the medium because, frankly, this was government-sponsored in a way. This was a public sector enterprise. The Indian Railways were as old as the government, actually older than the government. So they said, they're not going to steal your money. And it worked. So, people paid online. There was only one mode of payment in Indian Railways for the longest time, which was credit card, and no one complained. So that worked very well. The second, I would say the benefit, the credit should go to both civil aviation in general and Air Deccan probably in specific, by really getting people now to migrate to a private sector enterprise and to spend a good amount of money. So, while those tickets are cheap, people were still paying on an average transaction 5,000 rupees maybe for a return ticket, and if it was for the family, 15,000, 20,000 rupees. That was a big jump for the Indian audience because the Indian audience was only used to paying a little bit of money for gifting and books and music and stuff like that, and very, very little. So ever since 2005, I think this market has really come alive. And between suppliers, which is the owners of inventory, so both hotels like this and largely the airlines, folks like us who are online travel agents, as well as some of the other intermediaries who actually transact online, I think the market's actually growing pretty well right now. There are some fundamental issues which need to be sorted. There's this emergence of fraud which needs to be tackled, and people are doing stuff around that. And obviously broadband will change a lot of things because the experience will change. So.